welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to start on our crochet journey. So this is for people who have never crocheted before, and I'm going to show you step by step what to do. So for this first one, go ahead and get some yarn, nice and easy. So I'm going to be using Lion brand, you can see here. And then you'll also need a crochet hook. So in order to figure out what size you need, you're going to take the yarn that you found and go to the back here, and you'll see right here it's going to tell you exactly what size hook to get. So this is a medium weight yarn, and it tells us to get a size J10 or 6 millimeter. So that's what I got to go with it. So I'm going to show you in this first video how to do a slip knot and a chain stitch. So those are the way you begin any project. You use a slip knot to get your yarn onto your hook, and then we're going to make a chain stitch, which is the first row of your project. So let's go ahead and begin. Okay guys, so now that you have your yarn and your corresponding crochet hook picked out, I'm going to show you how to begin. So we are going to start by making a slip knot, which is how you attach the yarn to the hook to start your project. Okay, here we go. So you're going to take your yarn, watching carefully. You're going to take the tail and we're going to make a loop. Okay, so we have a loop here. Next, you're going to pick that loop up, and you're going to take the tail and bring it from behind and through your loop just a little bit in order to make another loop. And at this point is where you grab your hook and you're going to put it in that new loop you just made. So it'll look like that. And then we're going to pull the tail and the working yarn, which is the one attached to the ball of yarn, until it is nice and snug. You don't want it to be too tight or too loose. So just like that. So let's do that one more time, just for fun, because repetition is the easiest way to learn. So take your yarn. Okay, here we go. You're going to make your first loop. Let's pick that loop up, take your tail, and put it in from behind to make your second loop. From there, we'll take our hook, put it in the loop. I like to then hold on to the hook as I pull and get the slip knot to be snug. Kind of pull back and forth until you get it to a comfortable point where it can kind of move around a little bit, but it's nice and snug there. And that is your slip knot. Okay, so now we're going to move on to doing your first row of your project. So on your project it is going to tell you to chain or do a chain stitch. It will give you a certain number. So if it says chain 10, chain 50, chain 100, for some of those bigger projects where you're chaining many stitches, I recommend using a phone app that's a counter or a clicker, so you can keep track, especially if you're like me and have a lot of distractions around, like young children running around you. It's good to keep track so you don't have to go back and count your stitches, which takes a lot more time. So here we go, we're going to get started. So different people hold their yarn in different ways. There's no right and wrong way to do it, but I'm just going to show you how I do it. So I like to take my pinky and wrap the yarn around it and my pointer finger. let's do that again. Okay, so I go from, that's the tail over here. I go from underneath, wrap the yarn, and then put it behind my pointer finger. I do that so I can just kind of help manage the tension, where the yarn is. And yeah, so that's how I set it up. Next, I like to take the slip knot that I made and put it between my middle finger and my thumb so I can kind of hold it. So now back to making chains. So we'll pretend that we have to make, let's say, 10 chains to start this project. So what you're going to do, taking your hook, cross it over your working yarn, and then we're going to do what's called yarn over. Now you're going to take that yarn that you just brought over, let the hook grab it, and pull it through that slip knot to make one chain. And let's do it again. So repetition is our friend in learning anything new. It took me many, many trials to figure out how to chain initially. So do not give up if this is your first time. So far we've made 2 chains. We don't want to make them too tight or too loose. You'll get used to that over time on what tension works best. As long as you have the right hook to the thickness of your yarn, it's very helpful. So let's keep going. We're going to make our 3rd chain. So again, holding onto the work, crossing over, bringing your yarn over, and then letting the hook grab the yarn and bring it through the hole. Now we have 3 chains. And let's keep going. So we hold on to the chains. We're going to bring the yarn over from behind. The hook grabs the yarn and brings it through the hole. Okay. So at this point, we're going to go back and I'm going to show you here. So far we have 1, 2, 3, 4 chains. You can see that. Let's see if we can get a better shot. So we have 4 chains so far. I'm going to make a couple more here. So we're going to cross over, yarn over, and bring it through the loop that's on the hook. And again. So I definitely recommend, just to start your practicing with crocheting for the first time, is to just make a bunch of chains. Get really comfortable with this process, with this stitch, because it's going to be important for your projects. It's also important to get them the right tension, and you'll learn the feeling of that over time, measuring out that the amount of chains you have are the right measurement for the project. So here I'm going to show you what we've got. Okay, so you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 chains. I'm going to show you just a couple more, just for fun, because again, repetition is how our hands and bodies remember what we're doing and get better at it. So we grab the yarn, pull it on through, cross over, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over, pull it through. Okay,
that's what we're looking like. I'm going to show you kind of a little bit more of a normal speed here. I'm recommending slowing videos down if needed, pausing. That's how I learned when I started to crochet initially, is a lot of pausing to see exactly what someone was doing. So they're not the most beautiful right now, but there we go. So that is our chain. So again, the pattern will tell you how many to chain, whether it's chain 5, 10, 20. I had 230 once. It's just keep on going until you meet the requirement. You can always go back and count them if needed. It takes a little bit of time, or using a counter in the process. But that is the base stitch for whatever project you're going into. So follow up with the next videos. Go ahead and subscribe, and I'll be continuing on with the different types of stitches that would be continuing on top of this chain to make our beautiful projects. So go ahead and click that subscribe button, and I hope you continue on with me. See you soon.